The number one thing I think is really interesting is when you present it back to your associates, there's a lot of aha moments that they have because they've never seen it that way before. They're just living in the price world. They don't really think about it at a 30,000 foot level. When you present it back to them and say, hey, here's what you guys said, and actually compared to the industry, we think we're more cost competitive than our competitor. You get a lot of aha moments where they're like, oh, maybe I can push a little higher on price.
So John, we've been hearing a lot from the street that end customers are doing a lot of price shopping today. A whole lot more than what they've done over the last 3 years. Are we at a point to where we are going back to 2018, 2019 levels where price is a very important conversation with end customers?
Yeah, James, we are. I mean, that air cover of I can't get it and I'll just take the price increase because I'll do whatever it takes to get it, that's gone. So I think it's a really exciting time because it creates for distributors who are organized an opportunity to take share that maybe wasn't there 2-3 years ago. I mean, I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, a lot of times who got the sale was who had the product. So you may have had the relationship, the better services, the better pricing, the better delivery, everything. You may not have got the order because you didn't have it. Well, now we're back to where a distributor, everybody's equal again in inventory. Now it's back to operate better and take share. That's where we are.
Yeah, and that matches really, really well with what we are seeing out there. So what advice would you give to distributors and manufacturers, John? How do they start to overcome this and gain some competitive advantage through it, especially if there's upside potential of converting share into their teams if they handle this in the right manner? Yeah,
well, every distributor survey I've ever been part of, everybody rates 3 things as important for the buying decision. Knowledgeable associates to give you support, delivery or availability, and the third thing is a fair price, right? So you need to use fair price as the opportunity to go out and take share. And it starts with really getting organized surveys of your associates. It's amazing to me how many distributors just think about their feedback to their pricing team is just Joe calling from the field telling Jim that we're too high, right, on this SKU. Getting organized feedback through surveys that you can benchmark against the industry is really key. Because if you can score it, you can do something about it.
Yeah, I love that, John. So distributors, how would they go about doing this level of research, especially when they're working with multiple suppliers, and then getting even industry benchmarking for some of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we always say start with the internal, do your voice of associate. Something we've been doing for 10 years where we've got an established survey that asks associates questions, a variety of them, 12, 13 questions, things like how competitive are we here? How do we match up to the competition? How do we do price changing? How involved is management in the price setting process? You need to do that first so you can score it. And then work with a firm like Dorn that can then benchmark it. So your score is a 4.5, the industry's a 5.2, right? There's a gap. That 0.7 you can do something about. And there's proven programs for each and every one of those to do something about. But yeah, I think you got to take it from the hearsay, anecdotal, to the actual here's real data. And then once you do it, James, just like anything else, 6 months later you do it again, and another year you do it again, and you then have benchmarks to see, am I making improvements or am I not?
Yeah, that's great, John. And we both have seen the power once this data is actually surfaced and put into a formal document that teams can actually have access to. But once they have it, where do they go after that? What do you tend to see after that? Are there process improvements? Are there pricing changes? What tends to happen?
Yeah, I mean, usually there's a lot of process improvements that you can get. Get out of it 3 or 4 action items you can take. But the number one thing I think is really interesting is when you present it back to your associates, there's a lot of aha moments that they have because they've never seen it that way before. They're just living in the price world. They don't really think about it at a 30,000 foot level. When you present it back to them and say, hey, here's what you guys said, and actually compared to the industry, we think we're more cost competitive than our competitor. You get a lot of aha moments where they're like, oh, maybe I can push a little higher on price.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, agree. That's great, John. So if you're a distributor or a manufacturer out there, invest in doing some surveying across your teams to understand what's actually occurring when they're working with end customers from a pricing standpoint. The times have changed. It's getting very, very competitive out there, and there's a lot of price shopping going on. So make sure you're capturing the input in a formalized manner, not just ad hoc feedback from individuals here and there. Capture those inputs. Get some industry benchmarking. Figure out how you compare to your competitors, and then try and use that information to improve the processes that you use for pricing, for manual overrides, and also for the actual prices that you're giving out to the street. And do all of this to improve how much you're winning at the end customer level. And in many cases, you're going to be able to protect the share you have, but you're also going to be able to steal share in a market that may be flat from a growth standpoint. So, John, thanks for the feedback. Excellent advice. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, James.
Thank you for watching. If you liked what you heard and want to put some of these ideas to use across your teams, please reach out to us at dorngroup.com. If you'd like to receive more unique insights for mastering channel performance as either a manufacturer or a distributor, follow us on LinkedIn and our YouTube channels.